Okay, we're good. Sorry about that, guys. For some reason, I wasn't being seen as the host, but now I am. And this is our last outreach meeting of March 29th. Topics. So we're doing a pretty good job on our blogs. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to, Steve, would you bring up the doc?
Doing it right now.
And put it in the chat.
Yep.
So everybody, at this point, if you submitted a doc, it's out there. Here's Karam's on microservice monitoring. We have Paul's, which is kind of fun, is why he joined an open source and his background and how he's going to use this to kind of launch a new career. Then we had, should be under tips. We have DTs installing on-prem. Nicely done. And we should have around here. Where did I put yours, Sasha? Is it under tips?
I'm not sure actually.
Oh, here it is. Ortelius website. There it is. So those are the new blogs that we have. They're all published. If you do now at this point, if you do want to make a change to it, it's all in Markdown. So you should be able to go over here. So here's I have Karam set up. So it's all in Markdown now. If you're if you haven't had a chance to like actually go through and update the website and you want to make a change to your blog, all you have to do is, you know, go into whatever you're using to edit your Markdown and then create a pull request. And as Sasha's blog explains, the Google Cloud build will take it from there. So looking forward to a few more. I know we have a few others who are in the works, so I'll be getting those in the next couple of days. And I think that this effort, even though it was slow to start, I think it was a good way to get us all motivated to put some blogs out there. And I think the ones that we have are pretty good, especially the ones that we're building in these tips and tricks. So good job, everyone. And we'll get badges out. We have a new member of the family. Siddharth has a new baby girl. So he is not going to be in this week. And so our levels for our badges will be postponed for a short period of time until he gets back. But what we do, what I wanted to talk about today is May 20th. May 20th is the day that the Theater of the World was published by Abraham Ortelius. And what I'd like to do is a mini conference, like a 4-hour conference. I think we'll do it through Discord. We'll have anybody who's gotten a badge up till now, we'll do a Zoom meeting, and all of the badge recipients will get their official, acknowledgement that they've reached a certain level of their badge. And then we'll do 3 hours of presentations, and they can be 30 minutes each. So each 6 of us will do some kind of a presentation, and we'll pre-record it, and then we'll do it all through Discord. So I'll just run based on the agenda. I'll post those presentations, and we might do it would be fun to do the awards one live, but I think it might be hard depending on people's time zones. So I'm thinking that's why I'm thinking about recording it. So I wanted to get feedback and thoughts. Should we do some of it live? Should we just record it and post it on Discord? That's going to be the easiest way to do it. And what are thoughts? The goal here is to do a mini run, to start learning how to put these together so that we can have an Ortelius Days once a year. And we just want to give it a shot to do it, just a small one, even if it's just us attending. Thoughts?
I think it's a good idea. Get some practice. Yeah. I haven't done something like that before.
And the nice part is it's when you do them pre-recorded, there's no, if you mess something up, we'll go through and edit it out and stuff like that. So it's not like it's, set in stone. So it comes in really handy. This is the way, like, what was it? DevOps World is doing theirs. And
Yeah, most everything's recorded now, but the one that matches most closely to this would be DevOps Online Summit. Tom Hendricks does all of this in Slack, and I was the chair for the CI/CD track, and it was easier than I realized just to sit down and have a conversation. His tracks are all in interview format. And if anybody wants to do one in interview format versus a PowerPoint presentation, we can do that too. So for example, we could interview Owen on what it required to go through converting the WordPress to Hugo, right? And that's just a series of questions that we can just chat, which means we don't really have to do a lot of preparation. But what it does do is it gives us additional videos that we can then post afterwards, and it gives everybody a little FaceTime. I'm trying to make it fun and simple and nothing that requires a whole lot of extra work, except for recording some conversations.
And
Yeah, that sounds fun.
you record about 40 minutes of
30. I did 30 minutes.
Okay.
On different topics. And then we can, of course, bring in additional people if we think we want to go out and curate some talks.
Do we need to prime the pump with some topics?
I can start, what I figured I'd start a Google Doc on this topic, and we can start looking at what the format needs to look like. I'm guessing we would, if we're going to do it, I'll start advertising for it. I'll start posting things. And then we would need to probably start getting the recordings done around the 1st of May. There's not going to be that many.
Right.
And Garima, who can't be on these calls because she has another standing call for work, is going to help me put it together. And she's pretty good at putting conferences together. So I'm confident that we can get it done.
Yeah, it's not that too many to go ahead and edit.
Any other ideas or thoughts about putting something like that together?
I think it sounds like a great idea. I've got something internally which I might make for a decent blog post around using OBS for recording these kind of things and how to edit it and create layouts, especially you have presentations as well. It's like an internal thing we create for training sessions, but I'll see if I can get that written up and share it as maybe a blog post or something. It's pretty useful.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't even think of using like OBS and for doing this. The ones we did with the DevOps group, they literally just we just sat and did an interview and recorded them, and then they take them and they do all the editing on that front. Do you know if they have like a how's the formats look at the end of the day, Tracy, with those? Is it video or like two people talking, or what's it look like? Because I can't remember from last year.
Just two people talking.
Okay.
Like a panel, like an interview.
And we can have more than one, two people being interviewed at the same time too. We can kind of do like a mini.
Yeah, we could do panels. We could do come up with some panels. That would be awesome fun. And if we think about somebody we'd like to include, and we can see if we can't recruit them to be like a keynote, we could certainly do that too. I don't know who that would be, but it could be fun to try to, figure that out. Somebody who's kind of pushing the world of microservices or Kubernetes. But if it's all good, if it's a go, we can start working on that format. it'll be the next outreach project, right? The Blog-A-Thon ends on this week. So the next thing would be to focus on our May 20th effort. There's some other, and Siddharth is taking over this group, and he's going to start really building out what would be a proper ambassador program out of this. There's some other interesting things that I believe that we can work on as the ambassador group, but we're going to wait for him to get back from being I don't know if he's a new dad or if this is his first, if this is his second. It might be his first. But when he gets back to work, he'll start focusing on it. So a couple of things that I know that are in the pipeline that we will want to work on from an ambassador perspective to give the ambassadors actual work that they can kind of dig into. I have training for Deploy Hub Pro that we can contribute back to to this community and rip all the pro stuff out and rebrand it, and that would allow ambassadors to be involved in putting the training together. So those ambassadors would be the certified trainers. There's something else that I'm working on too that I brought up. Now I don't remember it. But so I think that Siddharth wants to put together a decent ambassador program, which would be kind of different from this particular group, but he's going to take over this group and the ambassador group to start putting together more structure for it. But in just terms of outreach, the next big thing would be to do our Ortelius Day. We need to come up with a name for it.
I think Theater of the World is,
Well, that could be fun.
since that's what it was about. Isn't that what you said about when he?
That's what the map is called, the Theater of the World.
And what if we did like the different continents being a different topic? Because you have, it would line up pretty well with the number of topics and number of continents. I don't know if his Theater of the World had Antarctica or Arctic on it. We'll have to dig it out.
I believe it did.
I don't know how they found that back then.
Well, that was 1520, I think I said, or 1570. So they had pretty much covered the world by then. At least the Portuguese had and the Chinese had, no doubt. Okay, so I will get working on that with Grima. If you want to be part of kind of doing some of the early planning for it, I'll put a calendar invite out there as soon as I find out when Garima can do it. And everybody is of course invited to get involved in how to pull this 4-hour conference together just to get our feet wet in doing that. And we could also call it Ortelius Summit, so everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Ortelius Summit.
And yeah, someday in a live setting, it would be really cool to print off the original Theater of the World, because it makes for a really cool map. It's got all the scary things that they didn't know about. They got, they have dragons in it. It's a really cool antique map.
It's actually pretty complicated what he pulled together. I'm just reading a quick bio on it, and the first edition of the map was 1570, and the atlas grew through its 31 editions to encompass 183 references and 167 maps by 1612.
That's why I always say he created the first open source community. Because it wasn't just his information. He went around and he basically gathered a community to pull it together.
This sounds like a great keynote talk, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no
Just
kidding.
some of the...
Too bad we couldn't resurrect him. Maybe we have somebody who can dress up as Abraham Ortelius and talk about how to pull together an open source community.
We gotta get somebody with the beard, though.
Because because he was when we think about it, that was the technology, that was the cool technology of that period of time, right? because they were
Did you
trying
just
to build.
approve? Did you just approve dressing up?
What?
Dress up. Everybody
Yeah.
dresses up as
Yeah, we can all dress up with collars. Well, the
I'll take that as a yes.
the Renaissance collar on.
Yeah.
no.
Nice,
So I
Steve.
threw a link in the chat if anybody wants to read about them from the Library of Congress.
So I think that's really all I had for the, for this group today, is to how we want to, what our next project will be. And if everybody's good with a May 20th Ortelius Day or Theater of the World, that works.
One question, do we need to change the instructions for submitting a blog from updating the Google Docs to doing it directly through PRs?
We should, yes. From now on, I think that we will want them to be in a proper markdown and do it through the blog, through the website. The only directions I do have is for the Blog-A-Thon, and I don't think we need to change that now. We can finish the Blog-A-Thon as is, but I believe everything's gotten well started for folks that they now can copy, anybody's, because the blogs that are out there now that are in Markdown, they've got, they've got references, they have images, anything that you would need to. The only thing we don't have is one. No, I think we do have one with a video. Sasha, did you embed Steve's video in yours? We might want to do that. But I think that anybody could copy the formats of those other blogs to learn Markdown and to learn how to do that. So maybe I need to add a page out there, not sure where I would put it, that gives directions for updating the,
Blog instructions
blogs.
on the blog?
Yeah. Maybe I'll put it in the contributor guide so it's not part of the website, but it's part of the documentation. Does that make sense?
You can also create ones in the website which are marked as draft. So they won't be published, but they can still exist in a repo. So we could potentially create a template blog marked as drafts, never publish it, but then it exists in the blog subdirectory, but won't be present on the website.
Okay. I will do that. And then I'll make a reference to it in the contributor guide. Perfect. Thank you. That was a great idea.
Where would that, I've never done that where it's marked as a draft. How do you set that up, Owen?
From memory, I think it's just part of a front letter for one of the blog posts. I'll double check because I've got it used on one of my sites, what the syntax is, and I'll paste it through into the Discord.
Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if it was, if it was just a tag that you put in the header or if you put it in a certain directory or we, loaded it with a certain
It's essentially
template.
header information.
Okay.
So, yeah. Providing my memory isn't failing me, I will double check this. My memory is pretty shot right now.
All right.
I think that's a really good way to do it, though, because then people can pull down the template and just start working from there and then publish it as their blog. That would make it so easy.
Okay, so I created an issue for that so we won't forget about it.
Okay. And then did you create an issue for updating the contributor guide to reference how to create a blog and reference where the template is?
It's kind of in the same thing.
Okay. All right. I will work on that. I love and I love this map thing you just sent off. You just
It was pretty cool. I got to work on it when I was at Register Scotland with Land Registry and helping out NLS with some of the GIS data they were using. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So then the only other topic is that we are, everybody remember, Steve's going to start pushing tickets issues out to folks. So get ready to start thinking about coding. And for any, Paul's not on today. He wrote the one blog. I think we need to, for some folks, I think we might need to put mentors with them to get them going.
That's a good idea. We can talk about that more on Thursday.
And I think that many of us will become quick mentors once we start doing work ourselves. I'm hoping that on the architecture front, and really when we start doing the coding, that we can start developing skills. So I think mentors will be important. And that's all I had. Get the Blog-A-Thon finished up, get your final blogs in, and we will roll on to our 4-hour conference, whatever we're going to call it.
Can I ask a question quick?
Yeah.
Can you keep contributing blogs if you want to?
Oh, contribute all you want. Absolutely.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going, keep
Okay.
going, keep going, because we need the content on the page. You know, if we get 10 nice blogs out of this effort, we'll have done a pretty good job, because it does help bring the because we didn't have a lot of content in blogs, and that's why we did this. But please, please keep contributing. Any topic that you have, if you've learned and you want to share with somebody else, if it's something you had to figure out, assume that somebody else is going to have to figure it out. So a blog is a really good place. That tips and tricks for contributors we should really grow. And any of those blogs can become a topic for the May 20th event.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Yep, sounds good.
And then start thinking about if you want to, you know, we're going to start building the ambassador program. So if you want to become, remember we have basically we have 3 tracks. We're going to have the ambassadors. We'll have the champions, which are people who are doing coding. And then we'll have legends, people who are doing both. So as we, you know, kind of move this forward and Sidar starts pulling together his ambassadors, I think that you're going to probably have to think about which side you want to fit on. Like I said, the ambassadors will probably be pulling together the training. We're going to be focused on getting that some training put together and getting certified trainers. And there's another project that I can't remember. Oh, for God's sakes, it's the documentation project. Thank you, Owen, so much for the help on that. I could not have pulled it off without you. We did submit for Google Season of Docs. Don't know if we'll get accepted, but even if we don't get accepted, I think it's going to be a good project for us to work on as well. So that may be something that the ambassadors take on as well. And that project has to do with clarifying who the audience is in our documentation and sort of pulling it together, because if you read it, and it was well defined in our problem set, is that when I wrote that, I wrote it as quickly as possible, to be quite honest, and I siloed it pretty much. So I had different areas of focus, and sometimes one area of focus doesn't explain how it relates to another area of focus. And I think the first hour or the first day needs a lot of work in terms of clarifying it. So we're going to hope that we get the $9,300 budget or grant from Google. We'll see. There's probably a lot of open source. I don't know how many open source teams submit for that kind of stuff, but that would be another project, I think, for the ambassadors to be. I defined it with what Owen called 3 amigos. I didn't use that term, but 3 team members who can work with the technical writer that we would hire to do the kind of the reflection and make sure that they're on target, because we do have to have a way to provide feedback back to the Google Season of Docs folks to determine if we were able to achieve our goal. So that might be another project for this group, or what we're going to be calling the ambassadors. So those 2, I think, in terms of actual work to be done, getting the old training up to date for Ortelius, and then work on that documentation project would be what I would see as kind of the big rocks for the ambassadors through the end of the year. And if there's something else that we should be working on, please, let me know.
And just throwing it out there, if anybody is a pro at Wikipedia,
Oh, that's right. We should just open a ticket for Wikipedia.
I think I have one.
Okay. Or or anybody knows somebody who is good at Wikipedia and who can recruit them to create a page for us.
It's an art form to create Wikipedia pages.
You have to have the references, and I think that since we got announced, we'll have some references that we can use. I have a list of them on one of the pages, so we do have references that we can use.
One of the people I'm currently interviewing for a job at IGS spends a lot of time editing Wikipedia. So if he gets a job, I'll maybe sneak it into his first task when he
That
starts.
would be great.
There you go.
It is an art form. There's some people who are really good at pulling together, getting their Wikipedia pages approved. I never could do it. I don't know why. I just couldn't. I never achieved it. I tried. I get so mad. Finally was like, I'm just going to hire somebody to do this.
I didn't know it was so hard. Sure.
It is. Like I say, you have to have all the references just perfect. It has to be in the particular tone.
Certain format. And
Sounds like somebody who's just written a PhD should do it.
I couldn't figure out how to hit the happy medium. It was either too technical or it was too marketing. I couldn't bleed the two, which is the problem of our current documentation. The blending of those two are really important, I think. So anyway. Okay, everybody, it is 8:30, and we try to keep this to 30 minutes unless there's some other topic that we haven't covered. And we are still using Trello, so go ahead and some of these projects are still going to be managed in Trello. Like the May 20th event will be a Trello project.
yeah, I've seen getting updates on Trello, so people have been using it.
Yeah. Starting to come together on that side. All right.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Have a good week.
Thanks.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you very much.
See ya.